And now back to the Haney Biz Project with investorpreneur Mark Haney.
Welcome back to the Haney Biz Project, brought to you courtesy of the accounting firm Clifton Larson Allen. I'm Mark Haney, and I'm joined by a man who has built an incredible team and a fast-growing restaurant supply company. I'm talking about Justin Booth, the owner and president of Crown Distributing. How you doing, Justin?
I'm banging, Mark.
You are banging. You are at your very... Now, what's banging for Justin Booth? What are you doing when you're at your very best, your very best opportunity?
Yeah, when we're banging...
Besides radio show.
When we're banging at Crown Distributing, we're out meeting with customers. We're meeting with new customers, building relationships with existing customers, out meeting with vendors. We're always looking at new vendors to buy products from. Meeting with new vendors, existing vendors. So we're out trying to integrate ourselves with the Sacramento community as much as possible.
Well, you said that I heard somewhere that you are the fork in the farm to fork movement. What does that mean?
Yeah, so we kind of give you a little bit backstory is I bought Crown 3 years ago from the couple that founded Crown Distributing. At the time, I saw this movement happening in Sacramento that was really cool. And I could see that the transition from city of trees to farm to fork going on in Sacramento. And Sacramento's really building this tremendous identity. And an opportunity presented itself where we could be a part of that, my family and I. And I just leapt for it. I just wanted to be a part of it. And the farm to fork movement in Sacramento is real. It's happening. It's redeveloping Sacramento as a whole and the whole entire region. And so while Crown Distributing is not the one that brings the actual farm products to the customers, they got to have that fork to use.
You got to have the utensils. You got to have something. I eat with my hands, but it's just kind of awkward.
Well, we do bring you the napkins, the napkins that you need.
Well, you know what? I mean, you are an example of the reason why I started this radio show. This is about entrepreneurs helping entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs inspire me. So being around guys like you inspire me. And what I mean by that is when you started your business, as I heard the story about the way that you started your business, right? You were working corporate in a real estate entity, and you decided to quit that without Crown in your vision. So you decided to quit because you wanted to become an entrepreneur. What happened?
Yeah, more or less, it was kind of a point in my life where it was either now or never. And you just have to make that leap and you have to go for it. And I, talking about teamwork and the River Cats and whatnot, I grew up playing sports all my life, and I just love that camaraderie with the team that you build. And I just kind of found in corporate America, I use corporate America loosely, but it just kind of, there's really no team. There's no team building. And I just felt like I could really lead a group of people, and I wanted to be a part of that team. So I came home one day. I told my wife, I really want to be an entrepreneur, and it's now or never. And I asked her, I said, can we sell our house? Can we sell our cars?
Wow.
Can we do everything we can to follow this entrepreneurial dream of mine? And she agreed, and here we are 3 years later.
Well, that's amazing, because most of the time I would recommend to somebody that they might try the monkey bar theory. You still got a hold of the other monkey bar before you, before you grab onto the next one. You let go and you found Crown Distributing. And how much time did it take you to find Crown?
It wasn't that long. It was. I got really lucky, but spending my background in the real estate field, I saw so much of this that was going on in Sacramento, like everything that was happening down in the River District in West Sac around the River Cats. And right about that time, we saw that the Kings were going to stay in Sacramento and going to go downtown.
That means more restaurants, entertainment, and so on.
I just knew Sacramento was just going to start to really explode, and we're just on the verge of that right now. And so when this opportunity presented itself, I just knew it was absolutely made for
You think
us.
about the impact that the Sacramento Kings staying can happen. Oh, well, it happened, it affected a Crown Distributing. It affected so many other businesses that you might not even see beyond the restaurant, which means jobs and other economic growth. And so, you talked about team, though, and the topic for today is about building teams and the culture. And as I walk through Crown Distributing, I couldn't help but feel a camaraderie. Talk to us about how that was built.
Yeah, it was, I like I said before, I just wanted to be a leader again and be in a position where I could lead a group of people. And one of the guys that works for me just the other day mentioned and kind of passing as someone else was visiting us that, he doesn't view me as a boss per se, but more as a leader. And that was the biggest compliment that I could get from
Well,
from
your
anyone in my team.
father-in-law, I know, is one of your key players
Yeah.
over there. I asked him, what kind of, what's your take on Justin? And he said that you are not afraid.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
That meant a lot. When we kind of dove into the ownership of Crown, it was pretty slim around there at the beginning, and my father-in-law was a huge asset for me, and he stood beside me there. But we were in the trenches together at the very beginning, and yeah, it meant a lot for him to recognize that and to know that. I lead without fear. I try and lead the guys the best way I can, and that's.
And you're one of those guys that sort of rolls up his sleeves and gets in the game versus barking out orders, or are you more the order barker?
I'll do it all. I mean, when you get into when you step yourself into every single person's role, then you know why processes are put in place and things are done certain ways. And I find that for me, leading, that's the best way to do it, is to not only do it by example, but be in their shoes and try and put myself in my guys' shoes.
Where did your philosophies come from?
It's so much of what I draw on these days comes from sports. It's just growing up playing every single sport possible, and you just find that the harder you worked in sports growing up, the better you got.
Yeah.
And nothing ever happened by chance. Nothing was ever handed to you. Nothing was ever given to you. It's all been hard work. So that's what I really draw
We
on.
can learn so much from the baseball diamond or the football field or the track. It's an individual sport at times, I guess, but your wife, we talked about this earlier with Chip, is your wife's a serious marathon runner. And I think yours is a unique story where she's from Florida originally. Her family is from Florida. They moved to retire out in California. That's kind of weird. We're actually recruiting Floridians to Sacramento. How did you pull that off?
Well, I got lucky. It was.
Are you a good salesman, or how did that work out?
Yeah, I got really lucky. My in-laws moved out once they knew that we had kids on the way, and they played a huge part. And so they did originally come out
Good
to
move.
retire.
Have the kids.
Yeah, and now they're working with me. So
that's
it's been
fantastic. Now you are also a baseball coach. Do you use your? Talk to us about the baseball team that you coach. It's a pretty high-level team. Am I correct?
Well, I wouldn't say super high level. It's 6-year-olds. So.
Do you think your team could beat Marcus's team? That's
I don't
what
know.
I want to know.
We talk about it all the time. We
We're
do.
the Yankees, man. You want to watch out.
What's the name of your team?
The Rattlers.
Oh, the
or so-
Rattlers. Well, I
yeah.
think the
We got
Rattlers.
ya.
No, I think the Rattlers sound like they'd eat the Yankees alive.
No, I loved coaching though. It's awesome. It's so much fun being out there with the kids, and it brings you back to your childhood growing up and what's really important at the end of the day.
So how do you divide up your time? We talk so much about building businesses, and it's so easy to get locked into your business, and you get sort of spread too thin. You're doing a little bit of everything, and you don't have a serious impact maybe on anything. How do you divide up the resources and your time specifically at Crown Distributing?
Well, you have to find more hours in the day when you're an entrepreneur, that's for sure.
yeah,
So you start waking up earlier and going to bed a little later than you ever did before. But, I try and empower everybody that I work with. I don't want to be just barking out orders. I want to give them the opportunity to make decisions that ultimately will lead Crown in the right way. I help them with that, but I try to empower them. And everyone at Crown has really stepped up over the last couple of years and taken on much larger roles. And, we've had guys that have gone from just simply being a driver to now managing our entire fleet.
Wow. Yeah, you guys have grown fast.
Yeah, we've more than doubled in size in the last year or so.
What's the key to that growth?
It's hard work. It's all it comes down to. It's just hard work. It's
So
hard.
underrated, huh? Hard work.
Yeah,
Would you know it?
there's absolutely nothing that can replace it. It's hard work and getting to know your industry and your products. It's hard work of getting out there and meeting people and meeting your customers. It's all comes back to hard work.
Yeah, and just kind of we're getting close to wrapping up here, but just any final thoughts or words of wisdom from one entrepreneur to another? How should we go about attacking our business in this day and age?
I think to so many people that want to be an entrepreneur, but there's never that perfect time. there never is going to be a perfect time. You just have to go for it.
Get in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Just get in the game. And then to like you said about the impact that the King staying here has, it's a ripple effect. And so to all the other entrepreneurs here in Sacramento, let's do our best to keep it Sacramento. Like
Yeah.
let's look out for our fellow Sacramentans, and the effect will be so large. When we're all said and done, it's the way to go.
Let's look out for our fellow Sacramentans. Justin Booth, love it. Congratulations on your success. Proud to have you on our show. You are what entrepreneurship is all about. I want to thank Chip Maxon as well for coming on the show. And you know what? I'm going to kick it over to Caroline Gaines. Let me wake up Caroline over there. Caroline, we got our sponsors. Give a little shout out, if you don't mind, to some key sponsors that we need to recognize today.
I am awake and alive.
Yeah, girl, let's do this.
All right, special thank you to James Beckwith and 5 Star Bank, the entrepreneurial bank, our neighbor and friend Luke Smith at Audi Rockland, and John O'Bronson with Hub International.
Ah, nice. Now, sometimes people want a little more Mark Haney. Some people don't, and you got to go on. Always come down to our Rockland office, but how can they get a little more Mark Haney or Caroline Gaines Toth or Marcus Haney? How do you get in touch with us?
Well, come visit us in Rockland, and we are all over social media. So Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, we want to know you.
And how's our culture? Haney Biz is hiring, and how's the culture here? We've got, I don't know how many positions open at Haney Biz. We've got, 13 companies, and we're always looking for people that have that hard work ethic of a Justin Booth, but know how to work together as a team. Talk to us a second about the culture here, and are there any key positions you're looking for today?
Yes, and I would say our culture is like no other. So much fun. We work hard, really hard, and we play hard, and we're a big family. So big team over here.
Work hard, play hard.
Yeah.
We have technical positions, sales positions, accounting position, reception. There's all kinds of stuff happening at Haney Biz. Come be a part of us. Come by, even if it's just to say howdy. We want to meet you. And when we come back, next week, got to tease next week's show. Next week, we have, it's going to be a big show. We have Sean Shepard. He's the guy that founded Growth X. And we also have a guy that founded a company called Black Rifle Coffee. Mr. Jared Taylor will be joining us. So join the revolution at HaneyBiz.com. We'll be back in just a minute to talk about our closing thoughts. This show is brought to you by Ethan Conrad Properties. This is the Haney Biz Project.